guys, dearyoongi here, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing something I haven't done in a while, and that is reacting to unpopular K-pop opinions from Reddit. I don't know if anybody does this anymore, and I don't think I've seen a video like this in a while, so I thought I would have a look on Reddit and see what sorts of things people are saying on there nowadays. Before we start, please note that I do not own any of these posts, and I'm not claiming to. Full credit goes to the Redditors who wrote them, but I will be keeping all of the posts anonymous for their privacy. These are just my opinion on other people's opinions, so please do not be too offended, although I do of course encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments if you would like. And as always, please note that I am not intending to send any hate towards any artist or individual. The videos on screen may not always relate to what I'm talking about particularly, so please don't think it's my attempt to call anyone out or anything. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. First up, I can't stand when artists do song covers / dance covers of other artists' songs at their own concerts. I'm not going to read each of the opinions out, by the way, so please feel free to pause if you'd like to read them fully. This one is something I'm not going to lie, I've never even thought about before. I have actually said in my own previous unpopular opinions videos that I'm not a fan of when idols do remixes at award shows, or when an album is full of like 10 remixes of the same title track, but I never actually thought about whether or not I mind idols doing covers of other artists at their concerts that people are paying for. And to be honest, I don't think I really mind too much as long as it's not taking up a massive chunk of the concert. So say for example, if it's like one cover or maybe like a special stage by one or two members that goes into something else afterwards and doesn't last for too long, then great. But if it's a concert where, for example, every member gets a random Western cover like Blackpink did, for example, when they came to the UK, then I completely understand why you would not be a fan of that. Yeah, I know Blackpink didn't have a bigger discography at the time, but moving on. Although K-pop has massively increased in popularity now, it is still kind of a more niche music interest. And K-pop concerts are hella expensive. So if I'm paying a lot of money to see my favourite K-pop group perform songs I wouldn't hear anywhere else, then that's what I want to see, of course. I can absolutely go anywhere and hear all the top 40 songs on the radio. This would also be especially annoying if, say for example, your fave had like 10 title tracks and only performed 7 of them because they were doing all these covers, and then that meant you missing out on that one opportunity to hear your favourite song live. Oh, you'd be devastated. So you know what, the more that I think about this, the more I actually agree with the original post. You've officially changed my mind while I talked about it. Next up, this post says, I love Twice's newer music more than their older music. I know this probably will be an unpopular opinion, but I completely agree with this one. I have said in the past, and I stand by this comment regardless of how people feel about the company, but JYP is one of those few companies who are very good at maturing their artist's sound with their audience. Twice's older music suited them when they were earlier in their careers and doing the likes of Cheer Up and Likey, the things that the audience really wanted, but it has been years now and their audience has grown up. It makes sense that their music now grows with them, and this is how you maintain an audience for a number of years. Now, I'm not saying that their older music sound wouldn't be age appropriate for them now. There was nothing about their music that screamed too childish or anything, but I just personally feel that with where they are in their careers at the moment, their more recent releases like I Can't Stop Me and The Feels have really suited them, while still having a bit of that signature Twice appeal to them that we all know, love and recognise as soon as we hear it. There would be nothing wrong with them still releasing songs that sound more like the early days Twice per se, but I'd be concerned that the issue is with them doing that, it doesn't allow the girls a chance to grow and experiment as artists with other sounds. Something that at this stage in their careers they should absolutely be getting the freedom to do, and I'm glad they are with JYP. I'm just worried that they'll have to backtrack if fans aren't happy about it. Next post, Blackpink doing a collab with a free-to-play mobile game is tacky. Ooh, the original poster did not come to play here. But I must say, I fully understand their point. What they're trying to say is that this sort of thing is not exactly what we would associate Blackpink with. Blackpink are known for being this huge global name. They help represent K-pop in the Western world. Every member is endorsed by some of the biggest designer names. They're booked and busy doing ad campaigns, fashion shows, and when they do come back with music, it gets millions and millions of views within hours. So while their fans are anticipating that full group comeback, why are they doing a song for a video game in the meantime, when their label has just confirmed that they'll be having a group comeback in this month, August? It doesn't make sense, and it's almost as if they're trying to capitalize off the fact that people are ready and waiting for something from Blackpink now, so they've decided to drop this just after we've been told to expect a comeback. This isn't their thing. I would have completely expected a collab like this from either a newer group like our Reddit poster said, who are perhaps doing really well, so it would still get attention that they're wanting, or perhaps they could have given this to someone who would have made so much more sense, like Esper, for example. Their concept involves having their own AI characters to begin with that fans have been asking to see more of in their content. So wouldn't it have made perfect sense they could actually use the AI characters for this and put them to use? I don't know, don't get me wrong, I completely understand that it's business and every company here involved just saw dollar signs and that was it. But I don't think this was the right move for YG to make with Blackpink at this time. Next opinion says, K-pop concerts are boring. In this one, the poster actually confirms that they mean the people attending them, not the concerts themselves. And they mean that people kind of just stand there with their light sticks and wave them back and forth and don't really do much else, and that the vibe of people around them affects their concert experience. I think I disagree with this one. The person says that they've only been to a couple of K-pop concerts further down in their opinion, so I understand they can only base their opinions off their own experience. But I think for me personally, I've been to quite a few K-pop concerts and I've not had that experience at any of them. I think it definitely does differ depending on if you're seated or standing at the concert. Like, I find it much easier to get immersed if I'm standing, but of course those of us who have been through it, we all know how difficult standing is at a K-pop concert sometimes. But aside from that, the people around me don't usually affect my concert experience and how much I vibe while I'm there, unless they're being super rude. I have had a few occasions where I've been hit very hard by a person waving a light stick in front of me, but yeah, I've never had a boring experience at a K-pop concert. I think it's also important to note sometimes as well that there can be cultural differences in different locations. So like, I'm pretty certain in Korea it's actually considered more of the norm to sit there in your seat and wave your light stick in time with the beat rather than get up and dance, which is fine. And it's fine if somebody wants to do that globally too, in my opinion. It's all down to the individual and what they're comfortable with, I think. And providing you're not being disrespectful to the artist or the other fans around you, I say enjoy the concert in whatever way you think is best and try not to let the other people around you affect your concert experience too much. The next unpopular opinion we're going to look at is, I hate the pop punk / rock K-pop trend. Our original post actually lists 3 reasons why they feel this way, so I'm going to answer each of them individually with my own personal response, which to summarize is basically that I completely disagree. So our poster says they don't like this concept because 1, it feels very inauthentic and usually a rock group's sound is their signature, and even if they explore various genres, it always sounds consistent. I personally think that whenever a K-pop group explores any new genre, you could probably argue the same thing. Like, it feels sort of inauthentic anyway, you know? There's always also a case to be made for groups like Dreamcatcher and Pixie, whose entire concept is sort of rock already. The likes of Rolling Quartz, you know? And I don't feel like a lack of authenticity is coming from them at all, but I'm sure our poster is more referring to groups who don't have that concept earlier, now taking it on. 2, our poster also says, it brings nothing new to the table and most pop punk K-pop songs sound like something that already exists. I think you could say the same for any K-pop song of any concept, and also any Western pop punk song. Remember the amount of people who try to call out Olivia Rodrigo because her song Good For You sounded like a whole bunch of pop punk songs? The same thing also applies to K-pop. I don't think anything in K-pop is brand new anymore. Everything has been kind of done before, so I have no issue with it being replicated and groups putting their own spin on things. And lastly, our poster also says, 3, some songs would sound better if they had a pop / trap beat instead of a pop punk sound. This is more of a personal taste matter. Of course, music is subjective, and this is another one where I think you could apply it to the same logic I mentioned above and say the same goes for any K-pop song. When you think it would personally sound better with a different type of instrumental, there has definitely been multiple songs I've heard during my time as a K-pop fan where I've thought that. I remember clear as day there being a certain GOT7 song which was upbeat and pop definitely, where I thought, oh my god, this would sound amazing as a slow ballad. I'll let you try and figure out which one it is. Sorry, I've definitely gone on a lot with this one, but yeah, to conclude, I personally really like the pop punk rock concept we've been seeing because I feel some artists pull it off so well, and it's so great to see another layer of their capabilities. A great example of somebody who pulls it off really well for me is TXT. Some of their more recent releases have been my absolute favourite in their discography. Next unpopular opinion I'm excited to talk about, I won't lie, and that is rappers in K-pop groups are usually only given that position to make up for their lack in the vocal department. This one is tea. I wholeheartedly agree with this one, and I think you can usually tell because they're probably not the strongest of rappers either. Of course, I'm not actually saying this applies to all rappers in K-pop groups, of course not. There's a lot of rappers in K-pop groups where it's clear as day they were made for that role, and that is where their special skills lie. However, I do also think that there are are also idol rappers who are not in any way rappers, nor were they intended to be, and they've only been given that position of rapper, so there's more to their name than just dancer, because you can't call them a vocalist. And I don't think that's necessary, especially if you're not going to then teach that person how to become a good rapper. It just makes it pointless. Our poster says they'd rather the companies work with the idol more to make them a better singer if they can't sing, rather than just labeling them a rapper. But I do understand that with some people, I don't think that would be possible if they can't grasp the musicality and scaling required to be a singer, which is fine. But if you've then decided they have to be a rapper, great, but work on that with them. I personally think having somebody who clearly does not have any rap ability attempt to speak a rap part can be just as egregious as giving them a singing line if they can't sing that great, if not worse, because at least singing is probably easier for producers to edit and fine-tune in the studio than somebody talking. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this one, so please let me know in the comments. And the next unpopular opinion we're going to look at says, I'm sick of girl groups in the 4th gen. Oof, this one ruffled a few feathers. It has 3 times more disagree votes than agrees on Reddit. Basically, this poster is trying to say that they personally feel the 4th gen is currently oversaturated with so many girl groups debuting. And I will say, I do understand where they're coming from. I also feel like there's a new girl group popping up almost every week now, but I think we need to remember that there's no action without cause, and that logic definitely applies here. I personally think companies are opting to debut more girl groups than boy groups nowadays because they feel like those are perhaps more likely their best shot at making a good amount of money quicker. In the K-pop boy group market at the moment, I don't really think there's a huge number of different concepts to tackle, or concepts that are doing well enough for companies to try anyway. I don't know, you may completely disagree, but I think each one of these few successful styles that we're seeing that would be worth companies looking into already have a lot of male artists within them who would be difficult to compete with. Whereas, I don't know, I feel within the entire category of K-pop girl groups, there's probably a lot more concepts going around and a lot more avenues to potentially explore. So that is perhaps at least one explanation for the amount of girl groups debuting in the 4th gen. There are of course still a lot of boy groups debuting, but nowhere near the amount of girl groups who appear nowadays. And although a lot of them are unlikely to find fame quickly unless they're under a big label anyway, I must admit I do also think that another reason that this potentially might be happening is because a new girl group are more likely to do well than a boy group because of one thing, and it's simple. The audience seems to want girls. The audience want girls and girl groups, and that's probably why we're seeing so many of them. Okay guys, and that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you got this far. If you enjoyed it, please leave the video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments your thoughts on these unpopular opinions. If you're new here and have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell. That'll let you be the first to hear whenever I upload. And as always, my social medias will be on screen. That is my Twitter and my Instagram. I always follow back fellow K-pop fans, so let's be friends. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.